Hi guys, here we are with another presents video, bringing to you another track created by Centerman, released by Centerman, and presented by us firsthand. Well, a track from Centerman for rFactor 2. So this is not the first time we present the Autodromo di Imola from Centerman, but it received an update, so this is the release of the version 1.2, a video we should have had available earlier, but today we had serious issues due to significant and quite radical update released by NVIDIA for the GeForce, and of course that affected our work, having to lose almost all day setting things up. We had help from a friend, and the final part of it, in the credits in the end of the video we will mention that friend is going to be mentioned. So this is version 1.2 of Autodromo di Imola. Basically, in terms of the changelog, we will be describing briefly a very short changelog while we are watching footage with the United Racing Design Endurance Racing X NPX mod cars on track. I'm driving the Aston, by the way, and well, the new buildings were added in the pit lane. You may notice that whenever we are showing cars passing by the pit lane, new buildings, and also night lights were added to them, so when you drive in the track at night, those new buildings have night lights. There were some AIW tweaks, also some tweaks in some materials throughout the track, and another substantial number of trees were added, which was something that was not completing during the previous releases by Centerman, but now he did gave it some time and added some trees to the track, which is always good because trees mean nature, and nature is good. So three track layouts. We will be watching footage of all of them. Basically it's the same layout, but you have the Grand Prix version of the track, which is the track version we are watching now. Then we have the endurance version of the track, which is the same version, but the pit lane lights and the lights throughout the track work at night. And then we have the DRS version, which is basically the same, but with some DRS zones for cars, obviously making use of DRS. Obviously, we drove for a substantial number of laps in every of these three track layouts, and we could obviously see that everything works to perfection. This is another, well, this guy has been releasing amazing tracks. I'm not going to comment on the fact that they are original or conversions, just commenting what is released for the sim, which is the basis of these videos. All that doesn't go into this focus is petty talk, and we are not going to waste time here with that. The concern here and the purpose of the release is to comment the release and how it works in the sim, and case closed. So really three good releases in terms of track layout, all working to perfection. When you are inside the car, as now we can see from this footage, in the Arthur Merlin car, from the United Racing Design EGT or Endurance Racing X mod, when we are on board, we can see how everything works on track. We actually do feel as if we were on the real track, because the realism provided by this release, along with the current features on the rFactor 2 sim, make this a truly great experience and a thorough simulation. Of course, there are better graphics in other sims, but if we wanted to drive in a rainbow, we would choose to do so. If we wanted to drive in a scenery, in a dream scenery, we would do so. We just want a simulation which is as thorough as possible, as close as possible as the real deal, and here we can find that. So another track layout is the one with DRS zones. We are already watching that now while inside one of the Formula ISI 2012 cars from the Image Space Incorporated mod. Another possibility here, this brings us another possibility of a different view of the track. Car works much faster than the GT car, but also after a substantial number of laps, and this is we only decided to record the footage after a substantial number of laps. You can see that the rubber is perfectly working on track. We are always driving in practice session, public practice session, so that we have other cars from the AI on track. They are tricky, but more or less the AI from these cars works more or less the same way as it does the one from the United Racing Design mod, and the cars have the same vices and have the same tricks to basically to try and avoid overtaking, and in a short matter of time I will overtake the car in front of me, and when I get to that I'll mention this fact again about the tricky moves that the AI does when defending position. So people have been always trying to ask this guy to put more stuff on the tracks, to release more tracks. Is currently really active, preparing several releases. Obviously, since we have been working in close cooperation with this guy, because he allowed us to do that with his work, knowing that his work is highly anticipated by rFactor 2 users, and therefore we cannot thank enough, because it's important for a project such as OnWheelsTV to have stuff arriving firsthand. This allows us to get our branch of the public that does in fact follow up on these kind of releases, and it is important for us to keep our audience knowing that we do provide info firsthand when given the chance to. So we cannot thank enough this guy for allowing us to do this with his work. So this DRS version, basically the same as the others in terms of track layout. Small mistake there, I was trying to get closer to this guy, and sometimes that made me push too much on some parts of the track, but eventually I did get close. So the track is basically the same. The only thing is that it has there you have it, tricky defending. It has the DRS zones for use during practice sessions and races, also to try and overtake the car in front of you when you need a little bit extra power. So now we can see the tricky move. Yeah, he goes to the inside, and know he's going to do that, so I go to the outside, and although that's not consensual overtaking point, I made it an overtaking point and did complete the overtaking. So three options for driving at Autodromo di Imola by Senorman. Three great options. We are talking about great content, quality content. It is the signature of Senorman, and we do particularly enjoy this option for driving at Autodromo di Imola, which is called endurance option. So this is well, you can drive this during the day, but if you, for instance, if you make a race, say a 6-hour race that starts during the day and ends up at night, you will notice that when the night comes, the lights of the track will start working on the grandstands, the lights throughout the track, and basically you will notice that with strongly in the pit lane, in the pit box, in the pits, in all those buildings, in the finish straight, you will notice that the light works to perfection, and that provides an extra glow to this track and an extra message of how thorough is Centerman preparing his releases, and that's why everyone enjoys so much his tracks. And wherever he is posting, sometimes he's posting photos on Facebook of a track that he's working on, trying to release. Well, I tried for 2 laps to overtake this guy from the Lambo, and first 2 attempts I tried in, well, where I should not have tried, but then there's no 2 times without a 3rd time, and 3rd time it worked. So he's really thorough preparing his releases. He's really thorough working on the content, and that's why the community enjoys so much his work. And that's why whenever he is in the final moments previous to releasing a track, he puts some photos to tease his fans and he does have tremendous success in teasing them. They immediately react, and well, they a good companionship, I don't know if this is the proper word, but a good relation between the guy who works in the content and the people who take advantage of his content. A good relationship is working here, and so they do provide him a lot of feedback, and that is also important. Yeah, now I got it. Overtaking completed. So he does receive a lot of feedback from his fans, and this is a good relationship that he has with his fans. And then when the tracks are released, well, people get overwhelmed because the tracks really work well. They are a great addition to the track library of the sim, because these tracks really work well with the rFactor 2 sim. So it's these are tracks that everyone should have, and that's why I also advise you, or I advise you to download this, because you will enjoy a lot this track. Thank you once again for watching this video. If you like, click the like button, and bye bye.